Welcome to another episode of Zwei Ales und Hockey Tales mit Wally. 2 ales and hockey tales with Wally. And heute, I'm so excited to have on Zwei 37-year-olds. 2 37-year-olds from Southgate, Michigan, and Ketchum, Idaho, USA. Their hockey journeys have taken them to the USA, Canada, Slovenia, Italy, and Deutschland. They return to the Shed legends. One of them is a Western Michigan Bronco that came to the Shed in episode 304 and became the most shared Shed guy and the realest chat in Shed history, and was freshly named the Tender of the Year over in Deutschland, and is now set to face off against the other Hanover team, the Indians, with his first place Scorpions. Hey, Castle, he's still running amok. The other fella has been using the best schlagers or twigs in the world for years and is a DEL champion and a legend of the Straubing Tigers that once lost his bowels, I believe. That is about to take on the Wild Wings of Schwenningen in the quarterfinals and is set to face the real world and hang up the wheels after they win the whole fucking thing. Welcome to the back deck, Jerry Kuhn and Cody Lampl.
Thanks for having me.
That was a
Yeah,
mouthful.
pleasure.
So, Lamps, you look like you're in a kitchen.
I'm in the I'm calling it the fakery right now. It's the bakery. It's the bakery in the basement of our house.
Really?
My wife is quite the baker. Yeah,
she must be baking. That looks like a serious unit behind you.
It's we got a full commercial bakery here in the basement, so
Jeepers,
good
that's
for when you
cool.
get the munch, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And Cooner, where are you at? Are you in Hanover or Castle?
I'm in Hanover right now. I have an apartment here by myself. I think the family will come up tomorrow for the game. So
you got a game tomorrow? Lamps, do you too?
We actually play Saturday.
It was always Freitag, Sonntag when ich spielen in Deutschland. Friday, Sunday games, you know? You're mixing in a Saturday. I guess that's the DL. That I never got there.
Yeah. It's still that way, but playoffs now, I think they're going to stagger all games, every day or something like that.
I do remember that. In Germany, you would only play 2 games a week, and then as soon as playoffs started, you'd play every other day until it was over. Yeah. Playoffs are fun, eh?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it should be. It's way better than practicing, that's for sure.
Totally agree. Playing games is way better than practicing. I've been going crazy this week, man. My boys have their All-Ontario, to get to All-Ontario's, we're in the final series this weekend, and I've had to wait all fucking week. It's driving me crazy. I just want to smash them, you know?
How many of the boys just like taping sticks all day in the house and doing what, just going crazy or what?
Yeah, they love taping sticks, these fellas. They've been playing a lot of roller hockey, which as a coach, cool, they want to play hockey, but it's like we have the finals this weekend and they're out there with no helmets on and they're mucking it up. And I'm like, dudes, stop it. But then you know what I did? I put on my rollerblades and played with them. Still got
it. Still got it.
Ran amok of those under 13s. No, but this coaching thing's fun, and I know both of you are into it. Why don't I start with you, Cooner? You're coaching goalies. Your son is a goalie now, right?
He's doing both now, yeah. But slowly transitioning into full-time goalie. I think probably by next year he'll move up to U9. And him and his buddy, they're both every Monday they get goalie training from dad. And then I'm still working with the young Huskies in Castle, I just had this U17 goalie make his pro debut for the Huskies.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, it's a good feeling because I've been working with him for 2 years.
There's a tender?
Yeah, 16.
Random question. remind me to get back to that. Did the Castle Huskies not just fire their coach when they're in first place?
Yeah, they did.
First place.
I've got a, yeah. You know,
Should we comment any further or carry back on with coaching?
Let's do it. Who cares? Who
I
cares?
know.
That's panic. That's Europe. That's Europe for you. That's panic mode.
Panic mode,
Yeah.
boys. We're getting ready for playoffs. We're in first place. Better gas the coach.
Like, hey,
Really?
it might work out for him. It might work out for him. It might not. But like, I mean, that's to me. You know, I look at that's not an organization I want to go to.
Right.
I don't care. I'll say I'm not scared of that. You know, but whatever. I mean, it's to each their own. But I mean, at least like in Straubing, like I said, there's been loyalty to the coach, and you know, you dance with who brought you there, and you know, I don't know,
culture, and there's a culture and
and accountability. Yeah. You know, it's like it's not just normally everyone should be held accountable. Again, if you don't like the way things are going or this, but you would hope that a week or 2 weeks would wouldn't be the end of it. But hey, we'll see how it works out. Bold move,
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember your stats last year, Jerry, and you did have a contract for another year. And what's interesting is I don't know if it was Broncos sharing it. I don't know if it was people in Germany sharing it, but man, I got a lot of messages after our first chat. People really appreciated how open you were and honest you were. And I also had people write to me from Germany saying, it was very interesting to learn about the shady side of hockey that the teams never tell people about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I still have to. I'd love to spill the beans.
I know.
And
you're still part of the Castle family. You're coaching kids. You zip it. Let Lamps and I talk.
The time will come, though. The time will come. There's some rotten apples in that organization.
Oh, and those guys can spoil the whole batch, can't they?
Yeah, they can. So we'll move on, though. It's.
But seeing
that's good journalism, though. You know what I mean? Yes, they did fire the coach when they were in first place. You know what I mean?
Well, so for me, it's like I pretend like I know German, and it's like I pull up an article to read, or I see it on my little device, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that means they fired their coach. But I'm like, that can't be true because they're in first place. And then you hit Google Translate, and you're like, my German isn't bad after all. They actually did.
Yeah. Well, our first year, my first year in Europe, I think, were we tied for first or in second? Like when
we were in first. We were in first.
They fired our coach as well. And you know what? We loved the coach at the time. And actually, it was a very weird thing because the first time I kind of was ever on a team where the coach was fired, especially because we were in first place. And, I was kind of like, man, I don't know how to deal with this because we felt like a couple guys on the team went in and weren't happy with their individual playing and ended up getting the coach fired, even though we were having team success. And, we loved the coach and it was a hard spot, but they ended up bringing in a new coach. We didn't necessarily have success. We ended up losing in the first round to a team where that coach came from, but that coach they brought in, one of my favorite coaches, he's still there today. He's a German legend. He was great, but at the time I didn't know. I was like, man, how could this happen? Kind of thing. Because our old coach was a great guy. He was a rookie coach. He might have been, it was growing pains, but he was in first place and he deserved a little bit more.
A rookie coach in first place.
Yeah.
Coach in first place.
But like I said, it did happen to us our first year, or at least the first year that Jerry and I played together in Europe. And again, but the coach is still there now that they made the move from. He's a hell of a coach, has an unbelievable story. And obviously we didn't know him before he came in, but he's one of my favorite coaches that I've had, and, wish him nothing but the best. So, but it worked out for them, but it didn't work out for us that year.
Right. And, to say, I guess, a positive thing for maybe why they do that is coaches only come on the market so often, the good ones. And it's if that guy's available mid-season and he's the guy you want, then maybe it doesn't even matter how good you're doing. You're like, I want him. Because it's talking with Cardiff, when they've made some changes and I may know some guys they were interested in, And then when it is time that they fired their coach and needed a new one, then that guy maybe wasn't around anymore,
Yeah.
Just thinking out loud. Dan Seaman. Anyways, I get into how we know each other. You guys sent your poster pics for this episode on September 7th. It is now March. Guess we didn't get around to it the first time, eh? Didn't you have parenting to do or something, Lamps? I think I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to talk to you guys, and you're like, something popped up. I got to deal with the kids. I'm like, okay, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, that I think I forget what happened, but it was something like I had to do where I think it was take the kids like to different activities, you know, so
The
wasn't
taxi
able to
driver.
yeah, exactly. I was a chauffeur that day. You know, so yeah, it didn't work out, but I'm happy that we're making it happen now.
Me too. And what spurred it on was Maxie, who you came on with before, your equipment guy, sent me a picture of you on the ice, and it was your last regular season game, and it's got to be some emotional shit, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't hit me yet, you know, but it's been a good run, and just thankful, I guess I got to do it this long, but I definitely, yeah, it hasn't hit me yet. We still have like playoffs and everything, and I didn't even want to announce it, you know, but
Well, you
my
announced it in
next
the
gig,
shed when you came on, didn't you? You said that was going to be your
yeah,
last year.
yeah, but I didn't want, yeah, right. Everyone kind of knew that, but like, I didn't want to make it like known to, you know, public and stuff, like around here, at least everyone asked, but gig that I'm having, you know, they had to name a coach and make sure that, you know, people would come to tryouts and things like that. And so, you know, because like I said, it's kind of, you know, you don't want to, you know, we got a lot of stuff to do. It's tough to like, you know, and we had a legend as a captain, and it was his final regular season game in Straubing. So I didn't want to, so it kind of was like, all right, mine was there, but really this night's about Sandro and what he's done for Straubing. So
Well, you've done a lot too, sir. And so did you say you're coaching next season?
yeah, so I'm going to coach next season here in the youth program for
What
the
ages?
U17 team. U17.
Oh, that's fun shit. So then you'll get to see
Yeah,
your puppies do stuff. This coaching thing, man, I do it for free. Pretty neat. They'll pay you to do that over there, eh?
yeah, and I think the thing that really made it, you know, where it just timing was a guy, a skills coach named Alex Kerch, who's like a pretty, you know, he's a great skills coach, but he's also like I guess you'd say like an influencer, you know, you know, he's big social media presence, and he's building an off ice facility here with like synthetic ice and all this, and has guys that come, you know, I've been coaching with him the last few years. He has all these, you know, guys from young kids to NHLers that will come in the summer and train with him, and right next to my house, the facility. So to be able to partner up with him, like next level skill, and also then coach in Straubing and be able to stay in my house, keep my car, you know, everything like that is, you know, it just was something like
That's a
I still
setup.
feel like I could play, but not to the extent where I would ever move from where I was. So it was like it's either I'm playing here or I'm done, you know. So
Yeah.
this is what it was.
So it seems like you got life pretty set up there. So you're gonna be in Germany.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm in Straubing. This is where I am.
And Straubing is a nice place. I've been there. I've mucked it up there. I haven't played hockey there. I've mucked it up off the ice there. So
That's right. I'll get Folksfest for the next few years there.
oh man, honestly, that sounds like a perfect setup, and everybody transitions to the real world differently. It doesn't sound to me like you're gonna have a time like I had, because you're gonna be in the game, you're gonna be training puppies and seeing them do special things, and it's like coaching under 13 boys, and it's like watching them go through a season. And like yesterday at practice, I had let my co-coach like run it, and I just stepped back and watched. And at the end, I'm like, I meant to do that, guys, because I don't need to. You guys are hockey guys now. You guys all want it, and I can step back and just watch you guys fly now. You know, fun shit. And Jerry, you guys are in the quarterfinals against the other Hanover team. That's got to be a big derby, huh?
It's the biggest derby I've ever been involved in. It's out of control. I remember the first derby in their arena, pulling up 2 hours before the game, and both of our rinks are like open rinks, and you pull in like at 6 o'clock at night, and the whole 2 hours before the game, the whole stadium is full, and the drums are going. It's incredible. It's an incredible atmosphere in both our rinks. It's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm pretty sure I always played against the Indians, and I remember that rink, but then aren't the Scorpions like from the rock band or something?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I thought that was I know the one rink's old school where you kind of dress in a trailer out the back.
Yeah, that's the Indians. Yeah.
That's the Indians. So I'm trying to remember what your barn's like, but I've seen some of your photos. It looks like a sweet barn. Good old German.
Yeah,
barn,
it's old, and it's
dungy.
Yeah, but it fits, like it's a little village here, and the people are, they're workers, but they treat us really well, and it's been fun so far.
Are you guys playing the shotgun system?
We did for about a month. And then sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did for about a month when we had injuries, but no, we've got a pretty good skating team. So I think we're playing the 1-2-2, or
you're playing
we
hockey.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I did see your coach is the coach I had for a little time in Bietigheim. And when he came in, I remember his meeting with the team, and he said, when I've coached teams that aren't as talented as the other teams, this is what I do. And he was telling us we weren't as talented as the other teams. And I was like, I'm kind of taking that personally, sir. But then the right winger would force them to dump, so you'd trap.
Yep.
And then they dump it, and then you go stand at the far blue line. So literally, like, my shift was like standing at the red line and then going to the far blue line, and then standing at the red line and then going to the far blue line. And I never moved anywhere. And then they're like, "Oh, you're fat." I'm like, "Well, I haven't skated in a game for a long time."
That sounds awful.
It was awful. I hated every second of it.
Fans
I
showed
like
up
having the
to
puck.
watch. And fans showed up to watch you guys play this.
Well, you know what? We didn't get relegated that year, which it sure looks like I might this year.
Yeah. They're in trouble, maybe.
Going from the DL down to the second league, down to the third league, jeepers.
They're in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's tough system, right? It's tough, but it's not knowing, if you're going to stay up or down, I think. And then I think that's the one thing that's kind of unfair, I guess, for those teams that are like, all the German players are gone by the time, you know what league you're playing in. And if you do get relegated or if you don't, so I think it's a vicious cycle. I think teams that don't go down but think they might go down, like it's just going to keep going, kind of spinning that loop until
to go from
because,
the DL down to the second league.
How do you sign guys? If
but then you're right though. Germans aren't going to want to sign.
Obviously, no, and I think a lot of guys, now that the relegation is there, like they have outs both ways. Like if they're not in the league, they're going here, and then they're going, okay, well, I liked it here as a first league city, but do I like it here as a second league city? Then all of a sudden the players have the leverage that way. But teams are in trouble when it comes to that, like not knowing what league you're going to play in until, the end of April, like really puts you behind, the 8 ball.
Well, and the other thing is that's one of those articles I was reading because someone told me how bad beating I was doing. And, one of my fellows from Kincardine's on that squad. And it's weird, that small world, a guy from here is playing in my old honey hole. But anyways, I was like, my German can't be working right. I'm like, they play a best of 7 and the winner is saved. It says because they finished in last place, they have to win 4 games and the other team only has to win 2.
Yeah. So I was talking to a couple players and they kind of basically like almost not that like this is what they're doing, but they thought like there's no rush maybe to get everybody back for the first series because, it's like basically get everyone healthy for the last series where both teams kind of have to win 3 games or 4 games, as opposed to you're playing teams in the first series where that team only has to win 2 games. So it's almost so like, why rush it, or why like try and force the envelope when you could get everyone healthy for like the last year. But you know
I
what?
find it
I wouldn't
interesting
mind
though, they
watching
just
that
announced
because
that, right? They can change rules any year, and then they just announced this like now, and they're like, oh, by the way, haha, Bietigheim, you got to win 4, and they only have to win 2 in a series.
if you want to watch some intense hockey, that'll probably be the most intense hockey that's played in Germany, I bet you, for the whole time,
Oh man, so cool story was last year, Selb was playing for it, and I had a couple of their fellas on, Richard Gelke and Bryce Reddick was there, and they FaceTimed me from the locker room, and I was at my U9 girls year-end party, and I got FaceTimed by 2 of my shed guys and got to have a pint in the locker room after they stayed in the second league. And man, that's heartwarming stuff as an old fat guy that used to be out of the game, Pints in the locker room are fun. Does that still happen?
Have you ever? Yeah, it does. But have you, Jared, like, you ever been in a situation where like partying so hard because you didn't get last place? Like, that's to me is the craziest thing. That to me is the craziest mindset as a player. It's like, we're gonna throw you guys, like, okay, everyone should be fired. Everyone should be this. Like, that's the panic button. And then all of a sudden, last thing, it seems like you guys are heroes.
Yeah. Like in
It's
Iserlohn
absurd. It's absurd.
last week.
And I'm happy for Iserlohn because I'm happy they stayed up because the atmosphere there to me is unbelievable. The fans there, but it's also strange that like, the fans are calling for everybody to be gone, this, that, and then all of a sudden they like do a pretty good job last few weeks of the season, do this, and they stay up, before the last game of the season, and it's like
They
party time, Yeah, it's crazy. It's just a crazy mindset to me,
Well, when Selb stayed up, man, they took a championship picture on the ice with all the fans in the background. And it's like, you finished second last.
That's wild. That is the most crazy mindset to me that, like, I'm like, guys, like, let's get off the ice here, like, and make sure that, like, okay, let's start training. Maybe you need to start training or something. I don't know.
So for me, to bring back my memory, is I have hernia surgery my last year in Bietigheim. And I don't play the playdowns. So I've never played in the playdowns, but I was there watching it, and I found it so bizarre, especially when I had signed with Hellbrown. But knowing the team doesn't want you back because you suck, and your team sucked, but they want you so bad to stay up for them, but they don't want you back. And it's like, why am I trying hard for you guys when you don't have my back?
Yeah.
Weird.
And
Playdowns.
I think played it. Yeah, I've never experienced it or anything, but like I watch just like kind of highlighting things, and you just know how, like, literally teams like can go bankrupt and never come back, if they do go down, or they like lose a couple sponsors, and this, so you just that it's a crazy time.
Well, and people that don't know German hockey, man, they probably don't even really realize what we're talking about. But like, Bietigheim hasn't been in the third league, man, since way before I was there, man. I can't imagine them going down. That's heartbreaking stuff. But they asked me to kindly leave and retired all my friends' jerseys. Anywho, Kuhner, let's see here.
Yeah.
You just won goalie of the year.
Yeah.
No big deal, eh? Whatever. Winning's fun.
It is fun.
It's kind of like when nobody in Germany wanted me, and then I went to Denmark and won the championship, and I was like, haha,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
haha.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the same way. I think only one team didn't want him.
Right. But he wanted to be there.
Yeah. But it's nice when he does. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's nice to show people
Crazy
what's
that
up.
He's yeah, Jerry's numbers every year, though. He could have won it the last 5 years.
Every year. Mm-hmm. Every year. I find it interesting in the goalie world when the research team gets hot, and you see like some guys that like they hover around 900 every year. They got seasons in the 800s, but they get all these opportunities to go all these places, and it's like, isn't goaltending about stopping pucks? And then you look at old Uncle Jerry's numbers and you're like, does it every year. And he's a German. Jeepers. You still young there, Cooner? I said you're the same age as Lamps, and he's shutting her down. How we feeling in there? Goalie of the year, you must still have some fire under your butt, eh?
Yeah, this year, honestly, it was just about having fun. You know, like
Hockey's supposed to be fun.
yeah, and I went in with the mentality just prove them wrong. You know, like prove those people wrong.
Yes.
And the job's not done yet. Obviously, that the goalie of the year award, that's in my eyes, it's a team award. Like we had great defense. You know, like I had to have some big games also, but overall, that's a team award. And you know, I came here for one reason, and that's to win. You know,
Yes.
they have a goal, and I have a goal, and it would be great to win the championship and move back up into the DL too, because I think I belong there. I still feel really good in the net. I still approach the game like a professional. You know, like it doesn't matter what league I'm in. I'm doing the same thing. You know, bike rides, workouts, stretching. I'm doing it all. Like you know, so
you still want it.
Yeah, because honestly, this is all I know, right? And I'm gonna push myself until I can't do it anymore. That's the thing. And I admire Cody for shutting it down, like, and he's doing it for the right reason, and I would do it for this exact reason too, and that's his family. He is got the perfect setup now in Straubing, and I know he doesn't want to move his kids and his wife. Like the opportunities for them there are tremendous. And the one thing that I do know is Cody was put on this earth to coach, because I've seen him coach kids and the way he talks with kids, and it's gonna be fun to watch, you know. And hopefully in a couple of years I'll be able to head down south and I can join them. You know, like you never know. You know, I've got my coaching license, and I'm building my resume in regards to the goalie coaching. This summer, I think I'm going to get out down to Straubing and work at Kirchy's facility a little bit, get my name out there in the South, and yeah. But as of right now, I want to keep playing. I'm going to play until I can't. To be honest, I love this game.
But you should. I mean, when it's over, it's over. And totally understand what you mean about building your resume with coaching. It's like fun fact is I'm 0 for 3 in minor hockey coaching applications. My first year coaching, I was a co-coach, and we went to all Ontario's. And then the next year they didn't give me the job that I applied for, and I was like, thought I did pretty good. So I took the girls and I did everything I possibly could to turn them into hockey players. And every girl signed up for hockey the next year. We had a time. It was one of my favorite years of hockey. And I always say everything works out in the wash. And it's like this year I had a plan with a fella who got the coaching job. I did apply for it, but we're co-coaches. We're doing it together. And I always knew it was going to work out. And I got no issues about it because it's been an awesome year. I have the best co-coach ever. And you know what? We have ran amok all year. We lost one regular season game. And I have my name into coach again next year. And it's like, well, I have put in my 3 years and I think I've shown you what I can do. And it's like, if I don't win again, you know what? I've done everything I can. And if you don't give me a job, I'm going to go find another team because I have to coach, because it's everything I need is to be on a team and be able to see people come together and become hockey people. And it's the most fulfilling shit ever, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was putting the recruiting pitch in hard to Uncle Jerry here, but I mean, obviously he's still he's still hungry to play. I mean, writing was on the wall for me. It was a lot easier, you know. Like, I mean, I'm I kind of, this year especially, like took more of a back seat, played less minutes, moved to forward for the first time in my life. Like I'm playing, that's why my body feels great too, though, because, I'm just up and down fourth line winger, like
Chip it out,
banging
chip it in,
around.
go muck it
Yeah,
up.
exactly. Go lay some bodies, try not to get suspended, things like that. So it, kind of writing was on the wall for me, like that.
It was time.
You could go somewhere else, like have a big thing. But again, like we have the perfect setup here. So it really was, it was pretty
It's the
easy
right time
decision.
for your
And
family.
yeah,
And you
exactly.
have
So it's
having the best setup.
absolutely,
Having the best
yeah.
setup and knowing it's your last hockey game is like the opposite of what I went through. Was I was getting through another game with my knee. It was all swollen and blown up, and it was like, I can get through another one. And then the next day my leg locks and my career is like over like that. And I didn't know it was my last game. I didn't have a job ready to go back to. I knew I wanted to set roots for my family, but it's like I I don't even know what I'm gonna do now. And man, it's a tough feeling walking out of everything you knew and starting from scratch. Tough go.
Yeah, I think that's look back and I'm like, man, if I would have said first goal was to play until 25, and then it was like, all right, well, I'm I can't believe I made it to 30 and 35 and then 30, 37, I have a 38th birthday. You're like, it was plenty. Everyone can't believe my like bones are still intact right now with the way I do play, and the fact that that's still happened, like huge win. And yeah, I mean, I'm just happy, you land in a place like that. You just, you can see a future, you can see yourself living there. And I mean, that's why I've been selling Jerry so hard too. Cause I know like when it's all said and done that we're going to end up together somewhere. And
Yeah,
it's going to be hockey community is going to be lucky to have, everyone together.
you two guys are gonna run amok. I love it. When I saw your poster pics back in September, and I was like, man, these guys really like each other, and they should find a way to see each other. How long's it been since you guys seen each other?
When did we come down in the summer?
Yeah.
Came down in the summer, and then I think Amanda, his wife's coming down.
Next weekend.
Rick's has a hockey tournament in Ingolstadt, so your wife's coming next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend they'll
and then
be
as soon as the season's over, like we'll get together and we'll get the camper and so we came like last year we came through and parked at his place in Castle, parked the camper out front for a night on our way to Disney Paris. So
yeah.
we make sure we get to see each other, things like that. Yeah, and I'll have a lot more free time. Like my summer won't be I don't have to train like real hard, and stay in shape anymore. So that'll be nice.
I do know.
Yeah. But I told my wife, I said, the fact that, and the fact they don't have any more fitness testing, no more bike tests, no more lactate. I am so thrilled that part's over. I can't even
The
fucking
anxiety
say it,
of fitness tests, man, with my body type. And it's like, I would try so hard every summer to be the hockey guy they want. And it's like, man, this isn't me. And I want to eat. I want to eat carbs. I want to eat pasta. Every summer I would have to go on like this crazy diet just to try and look like all the other guys. I hate that shit. You know what? Have your fitness test. Let's go play a game.
That's what? That's why the Straubing Tigers are you'd like all the bodies in our room,
I honestly, I feel like you guys have a great culture and a great crew, and it starts from the loyalty with the coach the team's had. And you've mentioned your coach before and what type of guy he is, and that you guys want to go through a wall for him. And it's like, well, Straubing's finishing in third place now, man. Back when I was in Germany, they were bottom end of the DL every year, and that was okay with everybody. And it's amazing to see the culture change,
You should see our young goalie. You should see our young goalie's body, and he is a top goalie, and we have such a good goalie duo. And our young German goalie has the best body I've ever seen. It's amazing.
And when you say best body you've ever seen, I know you mean that in a funny way.
and he is his fucking mind. And and he's the perfect guy for here because they're not trying to change him, not trying to do this, and he is unfucking believable. Like he is
Be yourself,
awesome.
buddy. Be yourself and
Right,
have fun
exactly.
playing hockey.
Exactly. He's unbelievable, but it's awesome.
That is awesome. So you guys are going to be playing Schwenningen, which, fun fact for you, that was the team that ended my German playing career in the quarterfinals when I was with the Hellbronner Falcons and was asked to kindly leave forever. But they were a second league team then, and I believe they won it that year or the next and then moved up, and they've been in the DL for a while now, eh?
Yeah, they've been up at least since, I mean, I believe late 2000s, right? Is that when they went up?
Well, I was just so when the research
I don't
team
think
got hot,
I don't think they won though. I think they bought
you're right.
the license from Hanover.
That's right. They bought it. They bought their way and they didn't earn it.
Yeah. They bought the license from the team here in Hanover.
No, that's right, because Bietigheim won that year because they asked me to kindly leave, and then Kevin did get some players, the Rodman brothers and some fellows, and ran amok and won the championship. So hey man, I guess you weren't wrong to let me leave. You won it, and it pissed me off forever and still does. But they won it, and then Schwenningen, who lost to them, went up to the DL, and that's how bizarre hockey in Germany is. Anywho, yeah. I forget what I was.
They're the only team in the league that plays with an NHL size ice sheet.
They're still in the old barn. I love that barn. It was cold.
They redid the whole thing though. They redid it.
It was cold,
everyone else is, yeah, they redid it. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. But they play on a 200 by 85 foot sheet. So I mean, it's
like
definitely
that,
home ice advantage. I like that. Yeah, big time. But like when you get out there, like for warm ups and things, you're like, holy shit! Like, why is everybody running into me? Like, what the fuck, you know?
I like smaller ice sheets.
Yeah, of course.
More
yeah, you're in the game. Oh yeah.
Way more into the game.
Yeah.
Way more action, way more fun. But so that's what I was going to bring up. The DL, when I was there, it's basically the same teams at the top every year, the same teams in the middle every year, and the same teams at the bottom every year. And I look at the standings this year and I was like, what in the hell has gone on in Germany since I left? Bremerhaven's in first place in the DL and Straubing's in third.
Yeah, it's been well now thing is kind of like now the last 5, at least like during the regular season is really kind of ever since TP's coming there, Poco's coming there, like and Donner have been like cementing their way kind of in the top. But Bremerhaven's been on this rise for like the last, I'd say that time too. I think every year it's gotten better. Like I think we were there, Jerry and I were there their first year there in the DL, and it was like 10th, like made it into pre-playoffs and won, and then made it into playoffs. And then same thing next year, pre-play. And I think ever since then they've kind of just been rising up the board, and they just have a team that just plays so hard, and they got to me, one of the best players in the league over the last 6-7 years is Jan Urbis, like the Slovenian guys that are just, like they're a team of those guys. That guy's been there. He could have left, to gone wherever, and he stayed. And he's been there. He brought his friends. He brought his he brought his friends. He brought his friends in there, and like I said, they have a great coach. Like everyone loves to play for Popish, so they're a team that like. It's no surprise every year. Plus, it's such a shitty road trip because it's pretty far from everywhere. And then you get to the rink, they've got great fans, and it's just a tough place to play. They really play like a physical style. I love the style they play. So it's kind of if you've been around the league the last 5 years, I guess that's no surprise, really. So
I had a lot to say about all of that. To start with, it reminds me of Cardiff and Joey Martin. When I went there my first year, and they hadn't been a contender every year. They were in 9th place before we got there. We go there, we win a Challenge Cup, and Joey Martin's the best player in the league, and he can go other places. And I even tried to help him. People may not know, I did make calls for him when I was playing. I was his teammate, and I was calling Germany going, you guys need to come watch this kid. And anyways, he could have gone places. He stays and then brings his friends from home, Sean Bentaviglio and all the fellas. And then they just run amok for years. And it's because they have a guy, they treat him right, they treat him with respect and the way he should be treated, and then he brings all these other people in, and then all of a sudden you got a wagon, you know? Anywho,
Yeah,
but when you talk about team working hard and work
exactly. Yeah.
ethic, the other night, which was really cool for me because I coached my daughter last year and it was awesome. I didn't get the coaching job I put my name in for because I got to coach my daughter her first year on a team with all these gals that became my friends. And the other night I played mini hockey against my daughter. She asked me to play mini hockey, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever that my 9-year-old daughter is asking me to play mini hockey, and we start playing. I had no chance, man. Her work ethic's a thing, man. If you outwork the other person, you can win, even if you're less talented, because she outworked me all over the basement, man. She was putting holes in the walls with her stick, completely erratic, had me scared because I didn't know if I needed a helmet on, gloves, and she outworked me all over the floor and beat me. And work ethic's a thing. And what's cool for me is my under 13 boys outwork everybody. And it's like the team this weekend, work as hard as you want. My boys will outwork you. I'm saying that now. Put it up on your board. Because they do work harder than everybody. I got an email from minor hockey. We went 18-1 in the regular season or something. I got an email from minor hockey that we have 3 of the most penalized players in Ontario. And they gave me the rankings. I had the number 1, the number 5, and number 6 most penalized players in the league. And they wanted to know what we were going to do about it. And I was like, well, we finished 18-1. So you want me to tell them to not try so hard? What do you want me to tell them? Don't put holes in the walls playing mini hockey? Like, what do you want me to say? They're trying harder than the other team and they take penalties because they try hard. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the other reasons why, like, it's time for me to shut it down a little bit too, because I mean, no one's going to outcompete me like on the rink and everything like that, but I'm probably going to get outworked in the summertime, like away from the rink these days. And,
I do know
it's hard. And soon, right. And as soon as you kind of lose that, and it's like, you don't want to like, it's those summer workouts that you don't want to, it's because it's not the competing.
You just want
to
play the games. You want to
right.
get out
It's
there
not
and compete.
Exactly. It's not the competing. Like when we have jerseys on, it's like, that's red meat to me. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll fucking outcompete anybody. But like when it comes, but now like you want to set a good example, like for young guys too. And you want to be able to go hard everywhere, like they should be going hard in the gym, then they should be living their social lives hard, and they should be doing this and
work
and
hard,
when you
play
can't,
hard.
right. And when you can't, like when you don't want to do that, away from the rink anymore, you're like, all right, it's time,
I do know because it was getting harder for me and I was only 32, man. And I was like,
yeah.
when you were trying to get to a certain place and then the career's starting to go down and you're like, I just don't know if I have the same fight. And it's like, but I keep doing good every year, but nobody wants me. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and Jerry still has it. Like I still see him in the summer. He's still like enjoying his workouts, doing this and going, doing that stuff. And like I said, like once you're in shape and it's time to compete and it's time of this, like,
it's way easier.
I don't care how old I am. Yeah. I mean, no one's going to outwork me that way.
Yeah.
That way. But I still see him doing those things. And that's where I'm like, no, it's not it anymore.
I honestly, Jerry, don't look at me right now, but I can see it in Jerry's eyes that he is ready and he is going to show everybody what's up. And I love that shit in hockey. Serious. I love it. Anywho, poster picks. You guys have tattoos. Number 32 and number 35 on your bodies somewhere.
Yeah.
You both have it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where?
Mine's on my leg. Right below
Mine's on my arm.
You guys really like each other, eh? I think they call that a bromance.
Wait, I'm putting the.
There it is. So how long had you guys played together, but when you guys decided to get inked for life?
I think I played with him for like maybe 5 years, maybe like 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
you guys met in Idaho?
Mm-hmm.
It had been time in between.
Go ahead, Cody.
No, Jerry, you talk. You've
Yeah,
been
you
quiet.
go, Jerry. Yeah,
Come
you
on,
go.
talk
I'm just
more.
listening.
People love it when you talk.
No, I left right after senior year, lost to Denver, and I went right to Idaho. And
What a
like,
spot.
I think I told you the story. Like, as I walked in that morning, like they were packing the other goalie's bag, and it was like,
pro
oh,
hockey.
welcome to pro hockey. Yeah, and
That's crazy.
that's where I met Cody. I was a quiet guy, and I watched, and I could
Observed
tell
in
he
the
was.
new room. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched him and Hepper go every after pregame skate every morning, go hang out for a couple hours, and no, and then I remember it was Las Vegas. We played playoffs in Las Vegas, and this is when I was still kind of like screw loose sometimes, and yeah, I went after someone, and then Cody got in the way, and he pummeled someone, and yeah, after that,
He had your back and fought for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's hockey.
Yeah.
Well, one of my best friends in hockey is Trevor Hendricks, and we played together with the Daytona Beach Bombers of Ohio my rookie year and went to the finals and almost won it, and we were rookies together. And then I never saw him again for 9 years, and we signed in Cardiff together, and then we'd lost in the finals that year. We do win the Challenge Cup in Cardiff. And he was my boy, but like he also, I knew on the ice I could do whatever I wanted. If someone pissed me off, I could let them know that they pissed me off and they weren't going to do that again, because he'd be coming in off the top ropes and say, hey, don't touch Wally.
Yeah.
You need those people in life, and it means a lot.
He could have handled him. Jerry could have handled himself. It was just like,
and so
buddy, you're a
could
goalie.
I.
We need you to
so
stop
could
the puck.
I.
We need, like Jerry, we kind of need you to like make saves. So
Right. Goaltending's kind of important. Yeah.
But I knew,
And
like
then,
I said, I knew when Jerry, yeah, go for it.
well, then a couple years later, I get just a random phone call from Cody, like in the summer, and asking me about like getting his German passport, and he was like, yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm thinking I'm gonna retire. I was like, Cody, like, you get your German passport, that's like a Euro credit card, like that's money for the next 10 years. And
play till you're in a wheelchair.
Yep. And next thing you know, we both signed in Bremerhaven, got our passports, and rest is history.
Isn't that something when the research team got hot that you guys both go to Bremerhaven in 2015-16, I believe, in the second league, both get German passports, and then play for the same team in the DEL, and now that same team's in first place. So is there someone working in an office that has some kind of a stamp that maybe changes a franchise?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Just thinking out loud again in the shed, because I mean, I had played in Germany for 6 years, and what was interesting for me was, I mean, what is it, 7 or 8 years till you can get your pass, and then nobody wants me back, and I'm fortunate that nobody did, because it's led me here. But it's like those Canadians that get it from being there for so long instead of like heritage, they have to give up their Canadian. And like when they try to come back, man, they're like every other immigrant trying to come into the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't believe it. I was getting ready to retire, and because not because I wanted to retire necessarily, but I had a buddy, another goalie that was coming back, and he wanted to start he wanted to continue like in the skills business that I had in the summers. And then I got this call, and my wife was like, "No, we're going." And one call to Amanda, like to Jerry's wife, and they were due the same exact time. Like it was our second, but Jerry's first, and they were, so our two girls are 12 days apart or whatever, and it's been history ever since.
Yeah, well, when you have your people
And the girls,
in hockey, it's fun.
Our wives talk probably 4 times a day. Like Cody and I, we can go we could go a week and a half without talk. Like we don't need to chit chat every day, you know. But our
I do
wives
know.
are really close.
Well, I
Our
do
wives are
know.
really close.
Yeah, I probably talk to Jerry's wife more than I talk to Jerry because the girls are always on FaceTime, you know, and I'm just like there in the background getting yelled at or something. So and I like
But
chime.
like,
I'm getting chirped by both of them. So then I like chime in, you know.
well, that's so awesome that your wives are as tight as you guys, and I totally know you don't have to talk all the time because it's like all the guys I talk to, it's like I haven't seen them in 15 years, and you get in the shed and it's like a day hasn't passed.
Yeah.
Man, but yeah, it's very much like Kendo and I. Like he ended up shacking up with the gal in Cardiff and having kids, which is weird for me that like I hardly know his kids because they're on the other side of the world, and he's my boy. But like they came to Kincardine, like his Welsh gal, they came here when we had retired. And when they came to Canada to visit his family in the Ottawa area, they drove all the way here for a weekend to spend a weekend with us. And man, that's the stuff in hockey that means the most. And it is how I started all this, is missing the fellas, you know? Um, which another way I started this, Lamps, and I had this written down, is when I did the search Magoogle thing to figure out what episode you had been, the Hockey Think Tank came up and said you were on there too. And that was part of how I started this, was Jeff Lavecchio, my road roomie at Western Michigan, has the Hockey Think Tank. And I said, hey man, I want to come on. I did one with Neil Francis in Cardiff and I loved it. I thought, man, it's so cool to remember my hockey days. And then Vex was nice enough to have me on the Hockey Think Tank, and it brought out all the stuff again. And I was like, man, if he can do it, why can't I do it? And that guy inspires people, and he inspired me to start my shed. And what's cool for me now is me doing this has inspired like 4 or 5 podcasts I know of.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that, and like I said, and Jerry being at school with Vex, I met then Vex. We played together in Utah with Moose with Maxie, so we were all there together. He
The
was
shed
actually
guys are
going
all
through
interconnected.
exactly, and he was actually like kind of, going through, some stuff at the time, like with concussions and kind of, got him into more of the natural medicine, to kind of help his concussions and things like this. And all of a sudden, like he opened up like a whole new like part of his brain to being like, you know what, maybe things can be different and I can be this and that and positive and whatever. And what he's done right now is insane. Like this guy, I
Crazy.
mean, it's just work ethic, again though, it's positivity, it's work ethic, and it's just grinding, and
And
man, I got so much fun
he is
because
a positive boy, man. And
I got
you
so
know what?
much, yeah,
Negativity is exhausting and being positive is fun. And
yeah,
he's an inspiring fella. And you know what? He's going to be a dad, I saw. That's pretty neat.
yeah. And he's just the best kind of, I always joke because like he's the best kind of hardo, like just I see him, I'm just like hardo, but he's like the best, but he's like fucking such a hardo in like the best ways, and that's
I,
like what makes Vex. It's amazing,
God, I still never forget when like it wasn't the start of the year, it was near the end of my senior year, and they're trying the coaches are trying to like get me to like not be me and be more like Hardo, and they put him as my road roommate, and he wouldn't let me go to sleep until I showed him I peed clear.
What?
You better be hydrated. You better be hydrated.
And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm like, I drank enough water. He's like, no, you haven't. You're still peeing yellow.
Oh my god.
You know what though? I stuck with that my whole career because it does change your next day as if you're hydrated when you go to bed, and he does teach you about some stuff. Anywho,
No.
it's a small world when you get talking around. And when you talked about how you've been playing some forward and some D this year, Lamps, is like, I think that's personally how you win championships, is having guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to win. And like you said about that Bremerhaven team where players go in and bitch about their own personal stuff and then a coach is getting fired. It's like, I personally don't think that's how you win. It's do whatever the coach asks of you, do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, and that's how it was, Yeah.
Yeah, but like Kuhner brought up Luke Witkowski just had on a Bronco legend that you played with, and he's
Yep.
been doing the same thing his whole career, mucking it up, playing defense or forward. What do you want me to do today? You want me to go fight somebody? What do you want me to do? You know,
He's over here now in Finland, right?
I talked to him while he was in Finland. Yes. Pretty neat. All these Broncos doing fun stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Broncos. I guess you're not gonna be able to make the golf tournament this summer. I'm really I got my
When
eye
is
on
it?
Solid question. July 17th-ish area.
So we plan to go home this summer in July, so we'll see.
Are
you going?
Well, I'm trying to get my whole crew together that has all not been back because of hurt feelings reports. And I'm trying to get them all to come back and then lock horns with all the Broncos and just run amok.
Probably burn down.
So far, you know, there's been some resistance. They're talking about kids' activities, and I'm like, okay, we do that all the time. Why don't we say we're going this weekend?
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Come on, stretch, Daryl, be better. Which fun fact for Broncos doing cool stuff is my college roommate. So my grandma passed and we have her funeral. My college roommate's dad comes, Tim Moore, Daryl Moore's old man. And he told me that Daryl is now becoming the physio guy for Team USA, like the national program or whatever. And Gally is their strength guy.
Yep.
So the Galvans are the strength guy who now have gotten their boy Daryl in as the physio guy. What a world. Shed guys helping shed guys, eh? We're taking over hockey, folks. Watch out.
Yeah. I mean, sorry to hear about your grandpa first off. And, but yeah, that's connections, you know, and guys you trust and getting them into, you know.
Yeah. When you know people and you know what they bring and who they are, and you're like, yeah, I'll vouch for them any day. It's
Yeah.
like
I think
my puppies I'm coaching now. Give me a call and I'll tell you exactly what they're like because they're fucking winners and we're going to show everybody we are.
Yeah. I mean, that's my challenge in Straubing here with the thing. It's exciting because it's new, but I was saying, speaking of rollerblading, like the team this year, I think is going to go down a league because there's relegation in U17s and it was a really tough year for them this year. So I think they're going to go down. So I think it's going to be like a Mighty Duck situation where I'm going to have to go scour roller rinks and like get players, like change them into hockey players, like to get guys like for this Byron League to get them back up. So it's going to be all hands on deck, like creative situation. And that's the thing is like the kids here. Yeah. Like they weren't, and I'm not just say winners. I'm not just talking about hockey. I just think like the kids in general just weren't great kids, you know, to begin with, in terms of just like, you know, have had good, you know, mentorship or, you know,
Brought up
taught
right.
like what right
What's
what
right
taught,
and wrong.
like what hockey's a privilege, and you know, you don't play, you know, you have to take care of your other business first. You got to take care of school. You know, if you don't go to school, you don't play on the team. If you don't do that, you know, if you treat your billet family the wrong way, if you're not respectful to your, you know, your whatever, your siblings or people around town, then you can't play. And you know, that's going to change. Like I said, I don't give a shit if we win a game, you know, if they're all bad kids, you know, if they're not doing like those other things right. Like culture is going to change. And you know what? It's like you can still be a cool kid and be a nice kid and do things the right way, you know. And I think that's like my biggest, you know, I hope that's going to be my biggest stamp on the program is like, this is, you know, you know, people are going to be, you know, proud of you walking around, you know, as a person. So
I do know. I do know, and I don't know. Whatever. I say whatever I want. I'll just keep doing it.
yeah.
I had a kid this year that in his past
Fucking sling it.
I had a kid trying out this year, and this is when tryouts are going to happen. And I did have a couple moms say, "Oh, can't take him. He's so bad. He's this, he's that." And it's like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I haven't got to work with him yet." I'm like, I don't even know him. How can I not take the best players and try and help them out as people? And that kid has worked harder than anybody. He's been a great teammate. There has been a few coaching moments I've had to have, but not too many. And man, that kid would do anything for me. And he goes out there and is a gamer every single game. And he is the type of guy you need. He works harder than anybody. And it's like, don't tell me who somebody is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, but you set the
The bar.
you set your guidelines and your rules down at, you know, first, and
Yeah.
you make sure, like I said, you know, you reinforce things that they do well with, you know, attention and positiveness and this and you, but again, like, you know, I think a lot of times just like the line was getting pushed and pushed and pushed because the program thought they needed kids to stay up in this league where, you know, you're keeping those
And then
kids,
they're
but you're
entitled.
torpedoing,
Yeah.
but you're torpedoing the program because, you know, you're setting a culture that's fucking terrible.
That's wrong.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah. The start of a season, man, I've found with this coaching thing now, I'm in my 3rd year of like actually having a team. That first month where you like the team I have now, it's like we had a tough start in exhibition and everything. The team we're gonna play this weekend for the championship beat us 7-1 the first time we played them. Our first game of the year, they beat us 7-1 in an exhibition game. But like the managing the bench and how teammates talk to each other and support each other. And it's like the bar you set at the start of that year is what carries on. And like I do not accept people being mean to each other, telling you like support each other. It's like hockey isn't easy. You're on the bench and it looks easy because you're on the bench. You want him yelling at you when you're on the ice making a mistake? It's like have his back when he comes off and say, man, that's too bad. You know, like, I don't know. What do I know? Right? Moving on.
I mean, like you said, you're doing. I think that was the biggest thing is like me figuring out, and I'm making phone calls and things like, you know, you only have a certain amount of time each week or this or that, and you're going through the season. You know, how do I figure out how to spend time
With
where
each guy.
well, with each guy, but also like what I need to spend time on more than others that will correlate to help everything build a foundation, as opposed to spending time on details that like are just icing, you know, as opposed to fucking really building like and spending time on that
The
foundational,
foundation.
you know.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the, you know, like I said, it's going to be a learning process because, you know, I've never been with a team start to finish for the full year. You know, I get to come
It's
in,
the
kind of work
best.
on things, and I'm really excited for it, to be
You
honest. You
should
know,
be, man. Taking a team from a start of the year to the end of the year and seeing what they can do. What I start with is the D zone. And Shed Guys know Shed Guys. The assistant GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs was my coach in Dayton, Ohio. And winners win. He's a winner. And that was his last year coaching, became a scout for the Penguins, who just happened to win a few cups. And now he's the assistant GM of the Leafs. And he taught me D zone when I was getting into pro and I hadn't learned it correctly, you could maybe say, for the pro game. And he painted lines in the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. He painted the quadrants and said, right winger, this is what you got to take care of, is this quadrant right here. If the puck's over there, you stand here. If the puck's there, you stand there, and you don't let it happen from your quadrant. And I thought, you're telling me that's all I got to do? I've been chasing guys around everywhere for years. You're telling me that's all I got to do? And it changed my whole career. I start with
but
the
even
D
more
zone first, and I paint the ice the first practice every year.
more basic on that, I feel like when I work with kids, and Jerry, you know about this because you're working with like the same kids and all things. Like, I think even before that, what makes a good player and what makes a bad player is just fucking posture. Like, there's no knee
Body
bend
language.
like for a whole shift, you know, or like, no, but I'm not even saying body language. I'm talking about your fucking shins pushing on your tongues of your skates and you having proper knee bend to get your hands out in front. And once you make a pass, your fucking knees don't go straight leg again and you're not ready to get back. Like, when you're on the ice and you're playing, you're always engaged because your knees are bent, your head is up, your hands are out, you know, and I feel like That's the difference. Like if you just look at a good player and a bad player, and especially in the summer when I work with like all these skills, thing that we're trying to do all these crazy things with our hands and shit. And the only thing that we need to do over and over and over again is make sure our fucking knees are bent and our ankles are bent. It's just posture.
Hockey stance. So
Yeah,
I got inspired by Jesper Orville because he sent me his poster pics and he was playing for Manchester, and he sent me a picture and he's getting ready for a face-off and he was in his hockey stance. And I was like, who is this kid? Because you can tell by somebody's hockey stance how they play hockey.
Yeah. I mean, you just watch a kid make a pass and instantly, do they want it back? Do they go into like chill zone, like this?
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what I'm like, honestly, that's the biggest thing that like, I feel like can just change some players, but it gets boring when I'm hearing it over and over and over and over again. But I was a little guy and physical balance, explode this. And it's all because of posture, ready to compete at all
And don't let anybody take your puck.
time, no, fuck no.
But
No.
you ain't taking my Savage's puck. Jerry,
Yeah.
how do I coach a goalie? I don't even know how to put on the fucking pads. In tyke hockey, when I'm trying to put pads on kids and the parents are looking at me like, well, you played hockey for years, you know what to do. And I'm like, I actually don't.
It's tough to I have trouble coaching the young new kids, like the raw kids because there's so much you have to teach them.
Right.
But the thing that I've focused with Brixen is his skating. Number one, I make sure that he does 2 practices a week in player gear, so he's skating. But in our goalie practice with the U7 and U9 kids, I'm
I love
having
how you
them
say you're so German.
I make sure that they skate for 20 minutes with their edges, their edge work, and then their shuffles and their T pushes and their butterfly slides, because they are using that more than anything, more than their hands. And so that's the thing. You have to make sure that they're really good skaters. And like Cody said, their stance, their knees are bent and they're ready. They're in their goalie stance at all times, ready for that puck. They have good balance. They have a tight core. But it's so hard, especially you're a player. You've never played goalie, right? So
Yeah.
well,
so I was talking with Matt Caruth, one of my fellow Shed guys, Shed legend. And he just said, just keep firing pucks at him, man, and they'll just get better if you just keep firing pucks. And then I asked about like playing the puck, and he's like, under 13, man, you don't really need to worry about that yet. They're not strong enough.
I actually had this conversation with the in Castle. He's the U17 coach, and he has the 16-year-old that played for the Huskies last week.
Like, did he actually get in the net?
Yeah, the starting goalie in Vice. They were playing in Weisswasser.
Beautiful white water.
Yeah, and so the kid, the starting goalie, got ran after 3 minutes, and he got thrown in the game. He played all 57 minutes, and overtime. They won in overtime, 5-4.
That's hockey, baby.
Yeah. And so I was talking to his coach, and he's like, oh, he can't play the puck. He's too nervous. And I've done 1 hour and a half long goalie trainings where we only like do puck play and going out and stopping the puck. And it starts when you're like 14, 15. That's when you start, taking that risk and having the goalies go behind the net. And because it's scary, because if you mess up, if you fuck up,
yeah,
everyone sees it and the puck is in the net. you
Well,
know?
yeah, well, and it's like goalies go out and play it so many times, but the ones that make the highlights are not the ones that go well. But yeah, no,
Right.
so my goalie's doing what he's supposed to do. He just goes out and stops the puck for the D-man where it's supposed to be stopped, and then they pick it up and go. So I'll
So
just
it's fucking cheating now. Have you felt the goalie stick lately? These one piece like fucking carbon goalie sticks. They're
uh,
insane.
I don't, I don't overly want to talk about hockey sticks right now because my kid broke his stick in the last game. And
I was just saying.
it got stuck in a door right at the bench, and like I heard it crack, and then
Oh,
he changed, and I was like, "Did it break?" And he was like, he kind of looked at me with like that shit-eating grin, and he's like, "Yeah." And like I even saw the parents across the ice laughing at me when I'm asking, and all the players laughing about it because we were running amok, so everybody was having a good time. And his new hockey stick after taxes. Oh, breathe, Brent, breathe. Cost me $350.
that's insane. That's insane.
It was an expensive hockey day.
Hey, Wally, hockey is for everyone though, okay?
Right, hockey's for everyone. It's affordable and everybody can do it. And then you tell everybody they have hotels here, tournaments there, games there, gas is how much, equipment's what, and sticks are what, and you're like, so who can do this?
Don't tell
Imagine
Bauer
playing
and
in this city,
yeah,
man. That's why I
yeah.
never understood as a country boy when you get to the city and you're like, they all drive the fancy cars when they show up. We're just showing up in normal vehicles. In the city, you can't even play if you don't make the money. At least here,
That's
most of us are playing, whether it's a struggle or not. I'm struggling through it, but we're getting there, you know? It happens fast, man. Fuck, your kids grow up way too fast.
well, I mean, but I'm just saying, I used to just chirp the hockey companies because like they're on that push, like saying fucking hockey server and jacking the prices up, and then Karachi and things like Lamps, like take it easy, like they float us, you know what I mean? Like we can't have this
Yeah,
like, all
don't be
right, yeah, I'll be
honest.
quiet
Don't
now.
be
I was like,
honest.
yeah, I was like, yeah, all right, I'll be quiet now, you know what I mean? But it's like, come on, like it's absurd. It's absurd, you know?
So I'll bring this topic up because there's a stigma around it still in Canada, still in the UK, still everywhere. Cannabis changed my life. When I got back from hockey and my knee was shot, and I struggled for months when I got back. I struggled at work. I struggled everywhere because all I thought about was how much my knee hurt all the time. And because of Germany and a great place to play hockey, and they take care of you if you get injured, I had to show how screwed up my knee was for the BG. And I went and saw a doctor here, and they were like, whoa. And they're like, what do you take for this? And I was like, nothing. I'm natural. And they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, well, I took painkillers for 6 years to play hockey. I'm not doing it anymore. I've made up my mind. And they were like, well, you need something. And this was before cannabis was legal here. I would go to the like doctor cannabis person, and they taught me all about CBD and pain relief. And it doesn't have to make you high. It can just help you not be in pain. And it grows out of the ground, and there's probably a reason it's here. And I'm a huge advocate for it. I think personally, because in Germany, you would get drug tested for cannabis. I believe it's probably the same. The UK, I know of a guy that came to the shed that got suspended for a year for smoking weed while it was legal in Canada, and then went back to the UK. I can't believe how 1800s this is still, that there's a plant that grows out of the ground. People know the benefits of it, and you are not letting hockey players take it after games for sleep, for pain. I think it is complete horseshit. And I've said what I've said because it changed my life. When I started taking CBD and I could go to work and not think about my knee and how much pain I was in, and I could do my job good because I was thinking about it, it changed my life. And then I became the boss, and then everything was better. And it was all because of some plant that can grow out of the ground that you don't let people take. Whew.
Jerry, you want to take that?
Sorry, got wound up again. Okay, I got to tell one more fun thing because I won the Challenge Cup 9 years ago, and now I'm a fat old guy that's usually in a
Wait, are we
shed. But
switching
it's
topics already?
no, I got cannabis thrown on the ice in a pro hockey game yesterday. I got gummies thrown on the ice after the Challenge Cup win for the Sheffield Steelers yesterday for a guy that supports it the way I see of it and doesn't think it's a stigma. And he wanted the weirdest and funnest things on the ice. And a fan sent me a bag of gummies and said, I'm tossing this for him. And he did. Tossed it on the ice after they won the Challenge Cup. We got gummies thrown on the ice. Tell me if any other podcast in the world's got that accomplished.
I haven't seen it yet. But so do the UK still have NADA rules or no?
They're complete. It's not legal there.
Okay, so in Germany they just passed legislation, and it was supposed to go in effect April 1st, but it's going in effect June 1st. That's completely decriminalized for persons over 18. You can have a certain amount, and then persons over 21. But there's a curfew, like in public, so you're allowed to have a certain amount of plants on you. You can have like up to 3 plants, up to like 50 grams in public. And then and there's also like a curfew in public. Obviously, like no school zones this, but in public, then you can smoke like I think from 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. in the morning. So it goes into effect June 1st. Now I don't know if WADA is like if those things are going to be changing, but at least like when it comes to me,
Is that the drug
problem
testing
is
people?
with yeah, but the problem is for me, like with cannabis, is that I used to partake. I'll say used to. I was now like either an all or nothing thing for me, because when you don't do it and you don't have your tolerance, I fucking feel like I have under 100 IQ, you know, and get in the pocket and you get your 2-3 weeks in you and you feel normal and you feel great, and it like is really helpful, you know. But it's like, but when you're only every now and then, my anxiety and it's either an all or nothing thing for me. Like that's how I feel about, you know, because you got to get in that pocket to where like rip isn't making you just fucking stupid, you know?
Well, and that's what's weird about living in Canada nowadays.
That's
right?
how I feel, Jerry. You know?
But it's like you go into town here and you can get CBD that takes away pain, or you can get the stuff that makes you really dumb and, as you would call it, in the pocket. You can do, when you learn about the plant, man, there is a lot of different things it can do. It can get you stupid, but it can also just take away pain and make you smart as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I'm done playing, I mean, like I said, I fucking eat so much ibuprofen, and it's probably so unhealthy for me, and I
It's
can't wait
so
to not have
unhealthy,
to do that.
dude. And you
And I
guys
can't
eat that
wait to
shit
not
like
have to do
candy.
that. Yeah, and I can't wait. And same thing with like sleep. Same thing with like Ambien. You know what I mean? Like I've been taking Ambien for so long,
Really?
and it's just like, yeah, yeah, and it's like I said, the thing is when I'm done with hockey and I'm done this, and I'm excited that the rules like are changing in Germany. But also too, it's one of those things where it's like I don't even enjoy it if it's every now and then, because I feel so stupid. So it's either, you know, like you get your tolerance up and then you can fucking be in that pocket, or it's
Yeah.
like,
For
all
me,
right,
it's all
I'm
about my
you
pain in
know,
my knee though, man. Cause like my knee pops all the time. Like all the time. As like if I bend it and I gotta straighten it, it's gonna pop. And like if I didn't have CBD, I think about it all the time. And I'm like, I gotta straighten it again. Gosh, I gotta straighten it again. And then you gotta go through it and it pops and you're like, okay, it's straight again. And it's like, well, if I just have a little CBD in me, no THC, just the CBD.
but
But like,
you think No, but that's what I mean. You think like cannabinoid fucking CBD like helps your pain actually?
Yes. THC helps too.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like you're saying non-THC like CBD, non like psychoactive, or whatever it's called. Like you think that fucking helps like your knee pain?
Well, some THC helps too.
Like it's one thing like a 1-to-1, or
Where are you trying to push
like
me? What quarter are you trying to push me to? You're going
3-to-1. But you're saying like fucking. Well, no, I'm just saying like because I remember when the boys are like, man, you just got to try CBD. Here's some lotion, rub this on, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like this does nothing for me.
It's
But then
the
I'm
same
like,
as
okay,
that cream. What's
I
that
go
cream
back
they have
home
in
where it's
Germany that
legal in
fixes
Oregon.
every injury? What's the cream in
right,
Germany that
yeah.
fixes every injury?
Right, yeah.
Oh, hold on, let me get it.
I was just wondering because, like, to me, like to me that like
Oh God! In
fucking
Germany,
CBD. I
there it
was like,
is. He's
just leave
got the
that
two.
junk at home,
The
Voltaren.
Voltaren.
Yeah.
Any injury you ever have in Germany, just give her a wipe, folks. You'll be better. Why don't we get the cream on there and wrap it up, and then you're fixed? Voltaren, gosh, memories flood back.
Hey, but we
Thanks.
can still. Hey, but that's what I tell my kids. Like, oh, daddy's just got CBD.
That is what you say. Why you push
Yeah,
me so
I
many
know.
corners?
Oh, it's just CBD.
See, this is how you play. You push people in corners and get them in bad spots.
That's right.
Jerry, do you have any thoughts, or you just sit there listening again?
I
No comment.
I'm for like the use of it.
You're ending the stigma.
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
yeah, like it's in all honesty, like you like in regards to pain prescription pills, I have a past with my brother and my father being addicted to them, and they did it for just to have fun, and yeah, the it's an epidemic back home. I don't know how bad it is now, but painkillers, it's an epidemic. And
Yeah.
why prescribe painkillers that could seriously ruin your life when you could be prescribed marijuana that like
It grows out of the ground.
yeah,
Like, it's a
and
plant.
yeah, and there's a lot
It's
of
not made in a
benefits.
factory into a pill where a whole bunch of people are making a whole bunch of money over it. It's actually you put a seed in the ground and the sun makes it come up.
Right. Yeah.
And water.
So I'm for like ending the stigma. I think it's a beneficial thing. Like they prescribe it to cancer patients. So, but
So rumor has it in the UK you can't even get it medically, and it's like, man, how it changed my life. It's like, I don't try to change the game talking in my shed, but I try to let people know what's right and wrong. And I
No,
personally,
things are changing in Germany.
and that's
I don't
great
know
to
if
hear.
it changes, and I don't know if it's changing in the hockey world because of the drug testing thing. But in terms of living in the country, legislation was just passed, and it's going to be on a trial basis for like 18 months or 2 years,
Well,
with it being
takes someone to do it
completely
first, right?
decriminalized. And yeah,
It takes someone to do it first, and I you know what, Canada doing that, it made sense to me, and it's pretty cool to see where it's at now, because it's not like people are abusing it. It's not a problem. You go to the store, you get whatever you want. But like, as a hockey player, for me, what it brings back is you get wound playing hockey. I get wound when someone tries to take my puck. I get wound if we win. I get wound if we lose. And I couldn't sleep after games. So I would have some wine to help me sleep after games. It wouldn't make me too fat like beer would. But it could at least help me get to the point where I can go to sleep. Where you, if you didn't get drug tested for cannabis, it wouldn't make you fat. It grows out of the ground, and you'd be able to sleep and be ready for the game tomorrow, and not be hungover.
Yeah, and who can fucking eat after the game? No one can eat after the game. So you feel like
I've never understood those psychos when they bring in pizzas right
shit,
after
you know?
a game and they just grab a slice and start eating it, and I'm like,
Man, it takes me. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry until 4 or 5 hours after a game.
There's no way I can eat right after a game, and all the pizza would
Too
be
late,
gone,
you're
and I'd be
"Fuck,
like,
I'm
you
depleted."
psychopaths worked
No.
all game, and then you just started eating pizza, and it's like, man, my heart is racing way too much to eat right now. Anywho, we're getting really off topic, aren't we? I love that shit.
But as soon as they sign that legislation, that's actually when I retired and decided to stay here. So, you know.
You don't have to be a criminal now when you retire. Jerry.
Yeah.
You have a confirmed shed guy on your team. Marcus Gotts.
Oh, Gouda. Yeah.
Good dude.
Good guy. Yeah.
I played against him, mucked it up against him. And then he also played in the UK with Glasgow. I mucked it up against him in Germany and the UK.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He battled last year. He had a real bad back injury, so he didn't play. And then he came back this year and started off pretty well, and then got a bad concussion. And he was out. I think, 2.5 months. But now he's back. He's probably our most solid D man. Like, he's out there for the peak. You know, like,
he does.
He's a real good.
He does it quietly. You don't really notice him, but like, he just does everything right. I remember him. I think he wore number 4 or 6 back in the day. What number is he wearing?
Now he's rocking 44.
I know, but
44.
6 is a dust number, though, if he was wearing 6.
Yeah.
I still do like your number 32. I like when people are different. Like Robert Dowd in Sheffield, that his first year as captain won Challenge Cup. He wears 75. Like, who else is wearing 75? And who else is wearing 32?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The backup goalie most
75 sick.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that is a sick number.
It is. Well, I'm going to get back on track, I think, because I don't know what we're talking about anymore. How many doner kebabs or yufkas do you eat per season? When I was in Germany, I didn't know about them and was a little timid to do anything in Germany my first half a year. And I kept seeing these shops with meat spinning on a stick, and I didn't really know what was going on. And then once I had one, my life has changed forever. And so did my body type while I was in Germany. How many do you guys eat?
Guy. I'm not a big doner guy.
You lost me. Really? Did you cut out there? What's that?
I'm not a big doner guy.
That's because he can't smoke herb during the season, so it tastes like shit still.
So you obviously you don't drink or smoke because. Sorry, sorry, Lance. How about you?
No, you know what?
Move on.
Look, the donor's good. The donor's good, but they're too messy, man. Like, you have a beard, like, and eating them. I'm a donor box guy, to be honest. If I am eating them, you know.
I don't know how we're going to continue on this
Bavaria.
talk.
Why don't you ask me how much Käse Spätzle? You know.
Well, I can make Spätzle. Okay,
come on.
It's
all the same frozen meat.
Through the notes, and now the pages are all messed up. I don't even know what we're going to talk about now because I'm so upset. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's gross.
After a hard day's work of working out and running around and lifting weights and mucking it up on the ice, finally you actually get to play hockey.
Like,
I had to go have a kebab after practice. And,
so what was your order?
Well, I would get the yufka, the wrap.
Everything on it, or you garlic sauce?
Well, yeah, like I like the garlic sauce. I like the white sauce, you know. It was a tough time in my life when I heard in Germany that a fella in a guy's hometown that I was playing with was caught adding sauce to the sauce, if you know what I mean. Because I ate a lot of sauces in Germany. Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Where did that happen?
Um,
Fucked up.
yeah, it is. That is
In
messed up.
Hellbra.
I don't. It wasn't one of my honey holes. Thank goodness.
Say pita. Don't you say pita.
It was Dan Hallman was the one that told me about it. Anywho, glad I didn't eat his sauce. Okay, moving on to serious stuff. Poster pics from back in September. Having your kids on the ice after a game. Playing hockey still as a professional when your kids are alive. That's cool, isn't it?
I think we talked about that last time. Like, there's no better feeling. Like,
There isn't. You're being who you are. And what I find interesting, I'll keep going and I'll take over everything because it's my show and I'll do whatever I want. Having my kid on the ice after games, having my kid alive, and both of them at the end, getting them to see what it's like brings you back to being a kid. And then you realize how you can affect children, how you can help them by signing stuff, by taking pictures. And it changed me as a person seeing my kids get to go on the ice. I was like, whoa, I could have done all that for all those kids.
Yeah, no better feeling. No better feeling.
No.
Like, I'm sure, the girls, my daughter doesn't come into the room anymore. She's, a little older now, but Brixie, my son, and I'm sure, Bodie, Cody's son, like that's the highlight of the night. After the game, they go on the ice and then come into the locker room,
right?
Yeah, of course.
And that's what's cool about it all.
That's
your kids are up
like,
in the crowd. You're like, Dad, you better win because I'm going on the ice.
Yeah.
That's actually the best feeling, but the most anxiety of like, it's a tight game and you see them get up from the seats with like a minute to go in the game and kind of wander over to like where they are. And you're like, fuck, we better win this game. And even, even now, like Bodie, because obviously the girls don't come in the locker room anymore, but they all go on the ice and they have like their friends at school and it's like very prideful for them and they're fans. But Bodie, he, as Jerry can say, all of a sudden having a boy that's that age, that's around the room, all they do is mimic everything that the players do. Like they just see everything, every detail, copy it all at home. This is what the player, when we're in the car, I'm driving them to school, all they want to do is play our win songs that they hear in the locker room. Like when it goes, it's crazy and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, man. You go through the ringer sometimes in your career. Some people do whatever they set out to do, and some people don't. And then you go to Cardiff to get your MBA to set up life. And we had a young team, not a big budget, and I'm the only guy with a kid on the team. The only guy. And the GM right from the start, man, he had the jersey on the crib when we got there, waiting for him. He said, kids are always allowed in my locker room. It doesn't matter what's happened. I learned the first time I ever brought him in after a loss, I'm like, you're never coming in again after a loss. He heard bad language. He saw everybody pissed off. And I'm like, this isn't what you need to see. But then he would go out after games and he like, the fans embraced him. He would pick up snow and like throw snow at the glass and everybody's cheering for him. And he's ripping around while they're giving man of the match to whoever else because I wouldn't win it. And he's running around the ice, waving at people. And it's like, oh my God, this is like as hockey as it gets. Okay. Sorry. Got deep again, eh? Jerry, it's like our first talk.
I know now you're making me get it. Now it's like getting real that I'm going to miss it, because that is like both like that is the best, especially with I mean, you're right. There's no better feeling than that. Like and the kids fucking
How
love
old are
it.
your
I
guys'
mean,
kids now?
Jerry, you got an 8-year-old and Bricks is 6.
Yeah, Bricks is 6.
And what do
I
you
got
got?
I got an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
And it's just
Whoa,
crazy
man.
that
You have
Yeah.
you have 4 of them? You know what's causing that, right?
cannabis.
Yeah, I know what's causing that.
Okay.
No, but what's crazy?
Yeah, fucking cannabis.
What's crazy is when I look.
They do have
No,
they
no,
do
you know
have medical
what?
procedures that will fix that, and then you can do that and not have that.
You just got it done.
He told me that it was pretty smooth.
Sorry, Jerry. You
Jerry
were
was
going to
the
talk
first
about
one that
something. I
had
got
that procedure.
sidetracked again.
No. What's crazy is when we got to Bremerhaven, Harbor was Cody's oldest daughter. She was what, 3? 3 years
Really?
old, I think.
Yeah,
And
2.5.
yeah, 2, and she's my favorite Lampl by far. Like I love her more than I probably love Cody. And it's just crazy now because she's becoming, like a girl, like a big girl. So it's just crazy to see how fast life goes by.
So if I guess you just love getting deep with everybody, don't you, Uncle Jerry? When I went to Bietigheim, the guy that was kind of like a mentor to me, he was a 32-year-old seasoned veteran that knew how to hockey, and it came from Straubing, Germany, the year before, and it broke his shoulder, collarbone, all sorts of stuff in a practice, in the DL, and then comes to the second league the next year. Greg Schmidt, he had a 6-year-old that year, Chase, who was just an animal. We'd have to be looking for him on the streets of Bietigheim because he had just got lost on the way home from school and decided to go check things out, and we'd find him at like ice cream places. That kid now got a scholarship and is playing NCAA hockey, and it's like, you were 6. God,
Crazy.
where does the time go, right? We're all just playing a game. Gosh. Uh-huh. Okay. This is for you, Lamps, as a hockey player. Ready? When you are not on the Straubing Tigers next season, are you going to miss going to the beer tent with the team more or Cabina Fest more?
Fuck. But like our kid, I'm gonna miss the beer tent with the guys. I think because we have the best festival in the league. Like
That's what
and our
brings your
locker room
team
kind of
together right at the start of the year. We've talked about that. It's right at the start of the year. Beer tent season,
I
start of
love
the
it,
year.
but like our locker room's pretty. Yeah, I love it, but like our locker room's pretty shitty. But no, it's locker room's awesome, but the beer tent is like you see everybody in the wild a little bit and like kind of with their eyes just like holy shit, like this is across the street from our place, like in our small town, is pretty special. And like to see everybody dressed up, I'm a sucker for lederhosen, so I'd say seeing everybody dressed up in lederhosen is my favorite. Yeah.
It doesn't get any hockeyer than taking a hockey team to a beer tent. Knowing me, I got carried away most times at the Feder Market in Bietigheim, and it maybe was a smaller town than I realized when I was acting a fool, Sometimes. Maybe that's why they asked me to kindly leave, because I was acting too much like myself. My bad,
You know what? It's a good thing that like you gotta be fucking annihilated to be like, you know, to be singled out, I think, at Volksfest, because it's
Because
I mean, it's one
everybody's
of
in
those
one.
things.
Everybody's
Oh
in,
my God.
as
It's
we
one of
would
those
call it,
things.
the pocket.
Everybody is fucking deep in the pocket, you know, like they're
Beer tents are as deep in the pocket as you can get. I mean, it's like if you were like a Hellbron or Falcon and you go all the way to Oktoberfest and get disoriented and go for a stroll and then lose track of things and not sure where Oktoberfest is anymore because you were just trying to clear your head. And then you're like, I'm done. I'm getting on a train. I'm going back to Hellbron. And then the fellas get on the bus hours later and they're like, where are you? And you're like, I'm halfway home. Yeah, beer tents.
sounds like a similar experience I had though. Yeah.
So, anywho, Jerry, you already played around the playoffs, eh? There's things before the quarterfinals.
Yeah. I don't even know what they call it, but yeah, we had a
they
best
called
of
it like
five.
1 of 16 or something. The
Yeah.
only thing I was going to bring up
No,
was
no, but
your save percentage was 946. Sorry, winning's fun.
you guys actually play like North American style 4 rounds, you know?
Right.
The first
They-
series was best of 5. The next series is best of 7.
Oh, so are they getting things right now in Germany? Because when I played there, you would play the first 2 rounds best of 7, and then you'd get to the finals, and they're like, well, now that we got the 2 best teams, how about we just make it a best of 5?
Yeah.
That's what you guys would do?
In the second league, you'd play best of 7, and then you get to the finals, and you're like, now it's best of 5. Because that's the opposite of hockey in my eyes. But what do I know? Lost in overtime in game 5.
You also played in the UK though, where you guys fucking like would celebrate the regular season like you were the champs though. So
you're so right, man. You know what though? It's a whole different way of hockeying. It is weird and neat. It's like you can be playing a regular season
probably
game.
like college a little bit though, like where every game means so much, you know?
Dude, it's so different. Like in the second league in Germany, man, there can be some off nights, maybe.
Yeah, you got a Tuesday night and vice versa, you know,
Beautiful
something like
Whitewater.
that, you know, it's like.
But you can't lose a game. Like you can go beat the best team in the league in their barn, and it's the biggest win ever, and then you can't go dump it against the worst team on a Tuesday because those 2 points meant just as much. It's weird, but hard to actually win it.
So what's more important? The regular season
That's their big one.
or the play? Like, what would people like?
The league. It's like soccer or football. It's like the league is the most important thing. And that is the big one. And then after that, it's the playoffs. And then the Challenge Cup, which was won yesterday. And gummies were thrown on the ice and chocolate. You know, fun is fun. Right? Anywho, am I going to have to let you guys get to sleep soon? Jerry, what's the fastest you've ever drove on the Autobahn or your first experience driving on the Autobahn? You decide. Cutting edge shed questions.
I think my first time driving on the Autobahn was with Hauke in Bremerhaven in his Audi. I don't know where we were going, but he was going like 260 in his. Do you remember Hauke's Audi from Bremerhaven?
No, I remember it. I was going to say it probably wasn't in our cars because our Skodas would have like rattled to death before we.
Once they start shaking on the Autobahn, you know you're maxed out, eh?
No, I remember that like bright blue Audi though that like was super fast.
Yeah, I don't remember where we were going, but I went with Hauke somewhere and he was going like 260 on the Autobahn and I was losing my brains. Like it was scary.
The Autobahn's a weird road for me because it's way safer than the 401 here in Ontario. Like way safer. It's not even similar. When you aren't going fast, you move over. I do still remember my first time, and I'll bring up my own shit because it's my podcast. I'd been in Germany for 2 weeks, got kind of settled, just got an apartment after living with the GM for a week or so. And, but the guy I wore number 10 for, Brandon Dietrich, the guy that was my line mate that I had grown up idolizing, his parents come on the same flight as my wife. And we're getting in the cars to go get them. And he says, so the faster we drive, the faster we get there. And I was like, I'm following you. All right, let's do it. And I'm driving standard. And then you get on the Autobahn, you're going as fast as you can go. And you're like, this is crazy. But it's safe. And there's not so many people around because there's a whole bunch of trains and the people follow the rules.
That's true.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
I do a lot of driving from Hanover to Castle, and it is a lot easier and more safe for sure. You just
Man, even where
stay
you're
out of
from in Michigan, man, you get around those roads. The
Well, the
Autobahn's
fucking
safer
potholes
than
in
all of them.
Michigan are insane. Well, the Michigan, you'd pop a tire like before you even like
Oh,
the
yeah.
potholes are they're
You
crazy.
got everybody driving by and they got their window duct taped.
Fuck, like Michigan.
Raise them tough around there.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, Lamps, you got any Autobahn experience?
You know what? We got economy cars like, that are, it's like, I'm a pussy. It's like 160, 180. That's like what I do. And Ellie, my wife's always yelling at me for like, she says I'm like the slowest driver until there's a spot where I'm not supposed to go slow. And then I get like a ticket or something. So and most of the time when I'm driving on the Autobahn, I'm in my camper and it's like,
Just cruising.
I'm not going faster than 116. So, you know what? I'm just chilling, but like,
Yeah.
it's like I said, when I'm driving your thing and you're there, like, you're going, yeah, I'm not necessarily a car guy so I've never like rented a car and just gone to see how fast I can go on the Autobahn or anything like that. Ellie's dad will come for Christmas, and go like rent like some sports car and go rip on the Autobahn. And I just, I don't know. It's not necessarily me, but
It's amazing
I
how
mean, Jerry,
fast
you do a
people
lot more driving than I do, I think. So yeah.
I don't go too fast
Yeah.
when I'm driving.
But like I said, they give you a little like a little flasher, if they're coming back from like, kilometer back, give you a little like, half kilometer, give you a nice like flash and you get right over to the right lane and let's go,
Oh yeah, everybody follows the rules and everybody gets along and everybody does it right, and it is neat to see. It's like in Canada, man, people are trying to zig and zag and they're passing people on the right, they're passing people everywhere, and they're it's chaotic. But it's nice when people follow the rules and play the game the right way, What is your favorite restaurant right now, Jerry?
We Amanda and I and the kids, we love, like, we're foodies. We go out to eat, like in Castle. We have like 5 different places we rotate, but Amanda and I found a really good lunch spot. It's Amanda loves shawarmas, chicken shawarmas,
Yep.
and
Similar to the doner kebab.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
but
say. Like, you're not I mean, that's pretty similar.
no, but like, no, it's not. Like, I
It's
had
meat rotating on a stick.
the first time I had a doner in Castle, I Yeah, I had a donair, and that night I threw up everywhere, and I haven't had a donair since.
Get
I've had a
back on the
shawarma.
horse. Get back on
Oh,
the horse, man. If you fall
Depends on
down,
the
get
ruling. What
back
is the
up.
difference between a shawarma and a fucking doner?
I don't know.
one's a donair is like Turkish, right?
Yeah, what's a shawarma?
I would say this talk has gone way too out of control. So, Lamps, what's your favorite restaurant right now? I've been to
Even though
Straubing, and I remember the meal. I went with Andy Canzanello and our gals, and we went to a place that had a steak, a rump steak, you'd call it, with the dried onions on top, you know?
well, I hope you went to Vice Beer House because that's my favorite in Straubing. So,
I have no
yeah,
idea
and
where we went.
shout out Kanzi who gave me my tour at school. You know,
Isn't it a small world? He gave you a tour at school, and then he
yeah,
was a Straubing
fucking,
Tiger legend.
and he was in. And the story about him is I was meeting with the coach next day, and he was in Fat Club.
Fat Club.
So,
Fat
and his
Club.
bike pot, he was
He had a tough body.
supposed
Tough body.
like an early workout in on us, and he's fucking carrying his bike to the World Arena because he got a flat tire like a mile or two like away from World Arena, which was probably like 3-4 miles from our campus, and he was carrying his bike over his shoulder, just hung titties like just fuck.
Kanzi's one of the biggest beauties in the world, and he gave you the tour. And what's neat for me is when I leave Western Michigan and go to Syracuse, and you have all your Broncos that are like your brothers for life, and like it's like as tight as a team gets. And then you get to pro, and everybody's just on their own, and you're like, and then Kanzi's like, "Hey man, you want to go for lunch?" And he takes me to Chipotle. He knows where my heart's at. We go eat burritos or whatever. And he like took me in, and it was like, these are the people you need in hockey. When you show up somewhere, you need someone to take you in and be like, "Hey man, this is what it's like." That's Kanzi.
Yeah, yeah, great dude.
Yeah. They had a hell of a left side of the decor for years with Elfring and Kanzi in Straubing, you know? And now they got
Yep.
you mucking it up on the wing and a Fatitiger.
wherever asked, wherever asked.
Okay. You guys have any questions for me? Because we've been talking a long time, and I know my kids want, well, my daughter wants a sleepover. I go wrangle up some gals for the big sleepover tonight. Actually, I got one for you, Coach Lamps. You guys have the player of the year in the DL in Straubing?
We do.
Matt
We do.
Tedman?
Yeah, Nick Mattinen. Young guy. When I say young, I think like, 24, 25. Played for the London Knights and then went to university, was CIS guy.
I know.
And then had
the research team got hot.
1 year over in Villach, and then came here, and he's just offense from the defense. Like, this guy has the biggest missile of a shot, and for being 6'4", like, this guy just gets up ice too. So
And isn't it weird how guys get better at different ages and stuff? And it's like, so that guy I saw, I think he was drafted, but then goes CIS, never signs with the NHL team. And then, man, I love a good story when a guy shows everybody they're wrong, you know?
Yeah, and he's just really kind of found his own on the Olympic sheet here because he can really skate, for being a big guy. He's not like a thick guy, but he's like tall, and he can really skate, and fucking Christ, can he shoot the puck. It's crazy. Just a hammer. And he's a nice guy too. He's really great. He's a really great kid. And, it's one of those, like, you're really happy for a guy, that comes in, has success, because, I think when he first got here too, he was still kind of questioning the confidence a little bit. and then preseason was as soon as regular season hit, he like scored 2 in the first game, as a D-man.
Hasn't looked
Like
back.
it just kind of took off from there. So
Well,
yeah, so I was like, oh, my bad for like preseason. Just knowing preseason, like we were dog shit in the preseason too. So you don't learn a lot in the preseason, I think, is what it comes down to.
Shed guys know what that's about. Yeah, we had a tough exhibition game, exhibition season in under 13 around here too, and it didn't matter at all. But what's neat for me is what I'm picturing, because I don't know this guy. I'm picturing when you guys bag skate, he's the guy that comes off the ice and isn't sweating, and you're like, fuck you.
You know what, Jerry? What's wrong about that?
What do you mean?
Well, goalies have to bag skate too, man. I always wondered what it was like
we
to
don't
bag
bag
skate.
skate, baby. We're in Straubing.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, you
It's
kidding
a
me?
country club. It's a country club there.
Everybody's
skate
just
in
having fun
Straubing,
playing
right?
hockey in Germany. What? That's weird.
Come on, we work hard. We work hard during the practice. Why do we need a bag skate?
I 100% agree as a coach. I have not skated my players once this year. I will hide that stuff in different drills.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You hide it in competitive stuff,
You don't have to skate blue line back, red line back, blue line back, and hate hockey. You can make hockey fun and get in shape.
True.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Just thinking out loud again in my shed. Anywho, I don't know what else I got. I guess we should get back on with life, eh? Jerry's gotta like play a game. You gotta play a game. We gotta beat everybody. Winning's fun. God, I love watching shed guys win, and it's getting to trophy season. So all the trophies won. I hope everybody sends the pictures to shed headquarters so I can post that stuff, because shed guys winning stuff is my favorite thing in life,
Yep.
Absolutely. It's the only thing.
It is the only
thing, Let's go.
It's like the opposite of winning. And I have my big weekend. You guys have your big weekends. And it's like we're all still in hockey. And Lamps, what's cool for you is when you're out of the game, you're still going to be in the game. And it took me some time to find my way back into it, but we're here.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to still, like I said, to have friends and fucking brothers still in the game and being able to check the box, because that's the first thing I do when I get home from my game is I see how Jerry did and everything, so, and that's the best part,
And it's like when, for me, I mean, Cody, I didn't know you before. Jerry, I had never met you before. And it's like, now I care. And it's like, this sucks. Why do I care about so many people and how they do? It sucks. It's so busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't wait, because you guys are the people team. Shut your ears when you're listening to me. But you guys are the type of people you need to win. Jerry, you're the type of guy you need the determination, the drive. You're seeing it this year, or sorry, I'm seeing it this year. But you also saw it at Western Michigan, was when it was your time to show everybody what was up. You were like, hey, I'm right here. And you turned our whole program around, and then you see what all these Broncos are doing now, and you're like, look at these boys fly. And it's like, that's what I always wanted. And it takes goaltending to win championships. It takes that deep drive that it's like, give me my chance and I will show you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I haven't been so confident going into a playoff as I have this year. Like I'm the
same.
It's like I don't know. It's a weird, like I've been quiet today. I think even our strength coach the other day texted me and she's like, hey, is everything okay? I've just been quiet and focused, and I have a goal or a dream. I haven't won a championship, and Now's the time, I think. So
I 100% agree. Even if
I'm gonna.
you're doing it for that coach, I want you to win. Sorry.
we can have a whole podcast, a different episode about this chapter of life with Coach Gaudet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You guys, but you know what? He does win, and he won.
Yeah, he does.
Time, and he's
Yeah.
won multiple places. And you know what? I'm not for everyone. I wasn't for him. He's not coming to the shed. I'm not asking him. I don't want to talk to him again. So that's where that's at.
I'll mention it tomorrow. I'll mention it.
What's weird for me though is how it all ended in Bietigheim. It was like, well, I was an injured guy. Oh, Lamps is gone. I was an injured guy, and we won the Pokal, which is like the Challenge Cup, and it was like,
Yeah.
well, I tried to be the best teammate I could be without playing, and I tried to support all the guys, and then in my shed I have the championship poster up, which I had never looked at, I had never seen, didn't really want to see it because it was the end. I'd never played another game there, but
Yeah.
then when you look at it, you're like, well, we did win, and we did win together, and I had my guys back, and you were doing your thing as the coach, and yeah, we didn't gel, but we did win a trophy together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we didn't gel.
Yeah, there's guys that don't gel with them here, but we all have that one goal. So
and you got to go out and get it done, and that's all you can
yeah.
do, right?
Yeah.
Wonder what happened to Lamps.
His phone probably died.
Well, anywho, I guess we should shut it down and carry on with life, because I should.
Yes, sir. All right.
Go get him tomorrow. And Lamps,
Thank you.
thanks for coming on, buddy. Honestly, I love seeing shed guys run amok, and seeing Lamps go out the way he wants to, seeing you still run amok and show everybody what's up is, I think, what hockey's all about, is showing when people tell you you're not the guy, when you're not the person, and you're like, well, give me another chance. Let's go again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with how I was raised, and I'm trying to instill that in my son and my daughter and the goalies that I coach. Don't ever let anyone tell you can't.
And if you don't believe it, it won't happen. And you have to believe you can, and you will.
Yeah. For sure.
Just like you guys are going to do, and just like my boys are going to do. Game fucking on. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Cooner and Lamps, who's not here, and Wally.